Hey guys, welcome back to our deeper dive into the life of Moses in our Moses Out of Egypt series. My name's Olivia and we're going to get started. If you were with us last Sunday, you would have heard Pastor Rachel preach about some of the plagues that God sent to the Egyptians. We're going to jump into some of this passage in Exodus chapter 9, starting in verse 15. And these are God's words to Pharaoh and the Egyptians who were holding the Israelites in captivity. For by now I could have put out my hand and struck you and your people with pestilence, and you would have been cut from the earth. But for this purpose I have raised you up, to show you my power, so that my name may be proclaimed in all the earth. For over 400 years, the Israelites had been in captivity to Pharaoh and Egyptians. For generations and generations, Israelites have been oppressed and in slavery. And in this time, as you've heard Pastor David and Pastor Rachel speak about, there were all these plagues that were coming to the Egyptians. And the Egyptians were worshiping these supposed gods that were supposed to protect their wealth and finances and family. Yet with these plagues, God turned everything upside down and threw them for a loop. Yet he protected his people. Though the Israelites were protected at this time, it was still a scary point in time for them. All these plagues coming in, uncertainty and chaos all around them. Yet in all of this slavery and the plagues, the purpose is that God's power would be shown and that he may be glorified, that people may know his name and his might. What I think this passage is telling us is that the best thing that our lives can be isn't some paradise or full of wealth and health. The best thing that our lives can be is vessels for God's will, sacrifices for whatever he wants to do with us. Are you willing to let your life be what God wants it to be, even if it's not what you want it to be? Are you willing to let your life be a sacrifice and do whatever it takes to glorify him? Even though there might be things that come, we might not have plagues right now, we have a pandemic if you haven't heard. But even with all these things coming, it doesn't negate the goodness of God. So in the midst of your suffering and hardship and things that seem chaotic and crazy all around you, hold true to what is still good. And be sure to continue to glorify God in the midst of chaos, because his goodness is consistent. So my question for you today is, in the face of hardship, do you still glorify God? Or do you shut down and complain and focus solely on your hardship? I challenge you to hang tight to the goodness of God and can you continue to proclaim his name like he desires his name to be proclaimed even through the plagues. Call a friend and tell them what God's doing in your life. Post on social media. Use that platform as a way to testify of God's goodness despite all the bad things going on that people are posting on media. Find a way today to proclaim God's goodness to the earth. Thanks again for joining us into our deeper dive into the life of Moses today. If you didn't see Pastor Rachel's message last Sunday, you can click here and go ahead and watch that. And we'll see you next time.